today, Dr. Nader Ghazal. He's a friend. This is my this this is my introduction. He's my dear friend. He's the he's someone who helped us tremendously start the AI in Dubai, and he's the honorary president of our conference, the AI in Dubai conference. Of course, today he's going to talk about not only global opportunities, AI, and he's an advisor, so you can ask him any question regarding opportunity. Of course, he is the chairman of the African Asian Council for AI and Cybersecurity. And of course, he's a adjunct professor at Khalifa University, and he contributed a lot into education. I want to say that he brings a unique combination of academic excellence and real-world consulting experience. Having worked with many international organizations, I want to just name United Nations and World Bank and others. Dr. Nader has led major transformation, including in Kuwait Finance House, the Sudan Civil Aviation Authority with over 6,000 employees, and the transformation of a leading Saudi group into a holding structure. So he is all over. He helped many organizations in GCC countries, in the world, and in international organizations. I want to just say something that he's a dear friend and he helped us establishing that network. So I want to thank him from the bottom of my heart. Please join me now in welcoming Dr. Nader Ghazal. The stage is yours. أهلا وسهلا فيك.
Thank you so much, Dr. Hikmat. You know so much that I'm so proud of being your friend. I'm so proud that I'm being part of your close circle. And as I told you at the very first time, you are a leader and you have that magnet of attraction. So you don't need to ask. We feel ourselves already, around you and looking forward to support whatever
Thank you.
initiatives you have. And you always, surprise us with those nice initiatives like breakthroughs such as this one. Also, let me thank your company, Future 10X, for hosting this webinar. I'm so proud as well to be selected to be nominated to be the very first one to have the hit, because we are testing now a new model, a new educational model, okay, a new network model that I know you like so much, talking about networking. So I hope that I'm gonna be a good representation for what will come next. Okay, having said this, let me go directly to the point of our discussion.
Sure. But let me just add something here
Please.
about we call it some homework or tips. First of all, Dr. Nader is going to present like 5, 6, 7 slides to explain what he's gonna say and state today. And of course, you can ask question using, of course, the chat while he's presenting or preparing that, and you can raise your hand. We can see it and let you speak. But at the end of this seminar, it's going to take only 60 minutes. I don't want to waste your time. At the end of this seminar, we're going to give it 20 minutes for your presentation. And when I say presentation, you present yourself in 1 minute almost or less. Of course, the floor is yours. You can ask Dr. Nader question. And I want to say something else, that let's keep the mic close until you want to say something. That will be better for the background. Fadal, Dr. Nader.
Thank you so much, Dr. Hikmat. I think, can you see my screen, first of all? Can you see my slides?
Yes.
Okay, so sounds great. That's a very good start. Let me move on. Well, this whole idea of those webinars, I think, is stemming from the reality, from the fact that we are at home. We had to go, from our work to work from home due to the turbulences that we are all living in now. So, based on that, here comes the question that Dr. Hikmat asked: should we stay at home and wait, or should we grab opportunities? And that was part of our discussion. And we said, well, okay, despite of the fact that we are really living in a time of real global turbulence, We have conflicts, we have shifting alliances, we have rising energy prices. Dr. Hikmat, he knows that I work a bit on, I play a bit with the stock market. I mean, it's going crazy like hell, you know, it's like a roller coaster. So, and for those who are professionals, please don't get into the stock market nowadays. It's crazy. It's a loser game. So, but the history tells us as well that, which is very important, that in every period of disruption, there is hope and there is opportunity. So the whole message that we will be carrying on together today is, despite of whatever we are living in now, there is a hope, there is opportunities, and it is realistic. I will, you know, give some examples, historical, very quickly, very quickly. I'm gonna, you know, press forward very fast to move to our major discussion. But let's start with this. First of all, let's agree that opportunities, they do not disappear. Opportunities, they dislocate. They go from one location, or relocate rather, from one location to another. So today what we are witnessing is an instability. This is true, but at the same time it is an opportunity. Okay, having said this, let me get into the discussion of today. Very quickly, we have three major components of the discussion. Well, this is the way that I structured it. First of all, the same constraints, but we have different results. We have the same constraints, but we have different results. Why? We will discuss that. And that's on the 5 different facets that I'll be discussing in details. Then, having said that, what are the possibilities that are there, and which direction should we look at to grab that opportunity and be among the winners, not among those who are not moving, but watching the movers, watching the winners. And I think this is the main essence of our discussion today. And then, what are the leading prospects? Where should we look at? I'll discuss that in details. And of course, at the end, we'll have some takeaways. Starting with this, okay, we have the geopolitical situation. We all know that we have an issue, we have problems. We always, when we talk about geopolitics, we talk about wars, we talk about destruction. But in fact, at the same time, when we're talking about destruction, there is a redistribution. Somewhere else is being done. A redistribution of the wealth, redistribution of projects, redistribution of power. So where do you want to be? You can be under the, you know, under the destruction, God forbid, but you can be part of those who are rebuilding the future. And as a good example of that, in fact, you know, the World War II, the USA was not as famous before before World War II as compared to what is the USA today. But in the meantime, we had the UK. UK, they were doing great before World War II. Look at them now. Look at the US. Of course, we can see a big difference. The Cold War, two very bright and clear examples. The South Korea versus the North Korea. North Korea, they stagnated with whatever they had in mind, and there you go, they are an enclave, they are an enclosed society. Meanwhile, South Korea is an international hub. The same situation, a Cold War is a Cold War everywhere, but the difference is in the outcome. Why is it so? Because we have difference in the attitude, difference in the reaction, difference in the vision of the direction. What are you looking at? Are you looking towards the positive part, opportunities, or are you looking towards the you know, the negative part? Okay, well, the Middle East conflict itself now, I think, well, I'm not biased, but in fact, I would love to be biased to the UAE. We can see how the UAE and the Gulf region, in fact, they are going on the right direction on the long run by using these conflicts into, you know, the economical part and into the economy of their countries. Meanwhile, others are, you know, becoming more and more restricted and more under pressure. And of course, we have the same region, we have different strategies, and the results are different. Very quickly, Now we talk about economy. We finished with the Game of Thrones, you know. When we talk about economies, we're talking about different systems. I remember in 1996, I had the honor to present a paper in one of those regional conferences about the clusters, the economic clusters in the world. At that time, we were talking about WTO, World Trade Organization, and at that time, the whole world was except, and I'll get into that, except the Middle East and Africa, all of the big giant economies, they were clustering together. We had the Maastricht Agreement before the EU, which was the EU commerce at that time. Then now we have the EU, of course, but we had the Maastricht Agreement at that time. That was in Europe. We had the ASEAN in Southeast Asia. We had NAFTA agreement in North America, and we had the Mercosur in the Latin America. All of those clusters, now they have changed. Now what we have is a completely different thing. The oil economy, for example, well, I don't want to dwell much on, despite of the fact that I'm being biased to Singapore. I visited and I saw that successful country, Singapore, from the city of bugs and city of slums during 1964 to become in 2014 when I visited it, and I was given by the Minister of Municipality at that time the book 50 Years of Success. It moved from the bug city and the slum city to become number one in many issues related to environment, related to energy, related to education, to green areas, to governance and digital technologies, smart systems, and whatever. Okay, the oil economy shift back again to the UAE. By 2000, the UAE had made a decision, despite of the fact that it's not the only oil country, you know, besides the OPEC. In fact, they made a decision that they want to diversify their economy. Look at them now, and look at Venezuela. Venezuela is the largest country in oil. Look at them where they are. I don't want to dwell much on this. COVID, in fact, COVID is another example where we have many countries, they were going downward with the COVID issue, especially those who are based on the conventional manufacturing. And of course, the digital era was there. I remember before COVID, we were talking about digital technologies and stuff like that. COVID pushed us 5 years down the road very fast, and we have to react and react accordingly. Very quickly, regional partnerships. Well, the Silk Road and the Silk Belt, again, the trade is the same. Countries are still trading with each other. But with those new partnerships, new alliances, the Silk Road and the Silk Belt, you have created a thread or a belt of partnership between countries. So those countries and those cities that will pass through the Silk Belt, the Silk Road and the Silk Belt will pass through them, they will be the blessed. What difference did it make? They are into the system. Meanwhile, others, they will not be in the system. They will be losers. The same thing as a reaction, as we all know, this is also part of geopolitics, the creation of the IMAC, the India, Middle East, Europe corridor. Okay, the same thing applies. Those who are part of the system, they are becoming hubs and they are getting the opportunities. Meanwhile, others who are not there, they are the losers. Very quickly, technology and AI, this is what is so passionate for me. AI and technology. Look at US and China. That competition is a blessing, by the way, because we are now having a bipolarity of power, and this is truly needed for us. But it is us who will decide, will we be part of this? I'm talking about the country, the individuals. I'll go into more details into that. But looking at that, China, with the sanctions that they had, with the tight pressures on their economy and their trade, they made it an opportunity for them to rely on their manufacturing, GPUs and others. For those, I'm not, doing any marketing for myself, but I had a lot of discussions. You can check it on my YouTube channel, talking about the geopolitics and the technology geopolitics between the Russians and the China, and how China is coming back again with every pressure coming. China is coming back again with a new approach to still fast. And at the end of the day, we have two new powers. They are competing. Meanwhile, where is Europe? The big question, where is Europe? Because they wanted, I still remember in 2024, they started with the AI Act. They stayed 2 years working on that AI Act. In 2025, when it was finished, they realized that it's obsolete. They had to go back, and in October, this last October, they reinvented their EU AI Act, which is in fact, which is very good, but it took them 3 years in the meantime. In the meantime, many of the companies that were in the EU, they moved either to the USA or to China, which means losing opportunities. Okay, same market disruptors. I don't want to dwell much on this, but in fact, we have a very good example when we talk about Netflix versus Blockbuster. The video streaming, Blockbuster, they took it light. They end up out of the market. The same market disruptor, video conferencing. At that time, when Blockbuster was there, Netflix did not exist. That was 2018, 11. Making it very short, the same thing applies to Zoom versus Skype. Where is Skype? Where is Zoom? The same technology, the same disruptor. One company, they used it properly, so it became an opportunity for them. Meanwhile, others, they would not. They were waiting for others, and there, of course, they were doomed, and they are either a part outside the market, or they are laggers. They are lagging behind. Same thing applies for smartphones, iPhone versus Nokia, Motorola, Ericsson. Well, okay, that's very important. The AI GPUs. I mean, what made Jensen Huang the leader of the top company in the world, which stepped into the $4 trillion worth of market value, it's that small GPU. But remember, Intel was there before, way back before NVIDIA was created, way back. Intel did not move in. They pivoted out. Now, Intel is a lagger. Intel is a follower. So this is very important to know. Okay. Well, the supply chain shift. We always, I teach technology, and I always tell my students, whenever you have a technology, radical technology, part of the science of that technology is radical, is a change in the supply chain. A change in the supply chain. Now, this change in the supply chain does affect the market. It does affect the technology. It does affect the whole business model. And as a good example, we are all living into that. Amazon is one of the best examples, who started in 1994 as just a simple bookstore. Then when they upload, I hope we had enough time to discuss more this case. They became the leader in marketing books on the web. And look at now Amazon. Amazon, we all know them. I don't need to discuss what they are. They sell everything without owning anything. All what they own is a business model called a platform. Same thing applies to Airbnb. They sell. In fact, they affected the supply of the hotels because they went to the demand of the customer, and that's very important. You cannot dwell there just holding to your core resource, core supply, and say, I have it, I own it. No. Go for the demand of the customers. That's what made Airbnb the leading, and made the hotels fall into the Airbnb portfolio. The same thing applies to Talabat versus the restaurants. The same applies to Trivago, Expedia. What do they own? They own nothing but a platform. They own the appropriation of the requirements of the clients, okay, and they match it with the supplier. So they own the connections, they own the network, and I think that's the message there. Okay, having said that, okay, so what is it about? Well, in fact, don't waste your time with any resources. Work here. It is your mindset. The mindset of the leadership, being you're leading yourself as individual, or the leadership of the corporate, the mindset of the leadership. It's not intelligence at all. It's not resources. It is behavior. You can be much smarter than anybody else on earth, but you did not take the right move. You did not behave in the right time. So when we're talking about the behavior, you need to act fast, you need to act early, as well as you need to, as we all know, you need to take some risks. You know, one of the things that I teach in at Khalifa University, I call it ICE, which is innovation, creativity, and entrepreneurship. I always tell my students, well, listen, if you don't have the guts to take the risk, you're not an entrepreneur, but you have to do it right. You have to prepare, select the right timing, and there is details. I'm not going to go into that. So you need to align with the trends. You need to align with the trends. You cannot just ignore the direction and say, okay, that's what I have, and the market will come to me. The market will leave you and go somewhere else, and it will take the opportunities with it. Okay, don't depend on resources. Don't resist change, and of course, don't look at your your legacy systems. Oh my God, I paid a lot of dollars for it. Look at it now. We have many examples, but I don't have the time to talk about it. So as a result, we are approaching the end. As a result, we are moving from an old world into a new world. The main differences are, instead of owning assets, we are owning a platform, networking, buyers on the side, sellers on the side, and we are the platform. In fact, there you go. The platform will work for you. You will get your cut from the buyer. You'll get the cut from the seller, and you're there. All what you're doing is maintaining the platform. Okay, the same thing applies to instead of controlling supply, you control demand, and that's what's important. Instead of pushing your products, you respond to demand, and of course, networking ecosystem. Now we are building ecosystem. I mean, what brought the US to the Emirates, to Abu Dhabi mainly, to focus on Stargate? It is the ecosystem. They felt that this country, and specifically Abu Dhabi, is ready. It has the infrastructure, and I'll discuss that very soon. It has the infrastructure, so that what made President Trump to come and sign for that Stargate, besides many other issues, many other partnerships that are being developed. Why is it so? Not because we have blue eyes, no, but because we have the ecosystem ready for them to do and we have the infrastructure for that. So it's the ecosystem issue. Okay. In one word, we have an engine for opportunities. Repositioning opportunities, they don't dwell much on a specific location. They reposition from one location to another. So instead of chasing the opportunity, which is so hassling and tiring, instead of doing that, you have to be in perspectives. Put it in your prospects. Look at it, watch it, and then, of course, once we have that reposition, definitely it will come with rebuilding that new opportunity. Always there is risks. You have to do some risk management, and of course, if you don't do it, you will be replaced by somebody else who will be doing it. And we have many examples. I don't have the time to dwell much on them. Okay, where do we invest? Where are our opportunities? Well, it depends on your decision. But indeed, if you're so conservative, you don't have a lot of guts to risk, of course you'll go for gold, you'll go for commodities, you'll go for silver. But remember, even silver nowadays, and I had one of my interviews, I was talking about helium when the Qatar gas was attacked. I said in one of the interviews with BBC, as I recall, I told them, listen, we have an issue now. Helium is so important for the technology, and silver as well is so important for the technology. So when you hit on commodities such as gold, which is a hedging commodity, as we always call it, okay, also silver is used for the technology. So if you're looking for something that is related to technology, silver is good. Helium and all of those of inert gases, they are good. Excuse me. If you're looking for growth and you have the guts to take the challenge, of course, go for AI and any technologies that are related to AI, data, the cloud, data centers, clouds, and so on, so forth. If you're working with a company with big investment, infrastructure and real estate still are there for you to support many companies, in fact, and many countries now, they are looking for it to become hubs for infrastructure. And let me give you an example. G42, I think all of those who are living in the UAE, they know what is G42. Can you imagine with me that G42, they announced that they are ready to lend you, to make you rent their cloud, sovereign AI cloud. I don't want to go into details. Sovereign AI clouds in Lyon, France. So they have the asset there, but it's J42 from here. They have the real estate there. They're doing clouds, and it's a sovereign AI. Okay, you can rent it. They will secure the data for you. Okay, so this gives you an example. We're not talking anymore about boundaries. Well, in fact, with the digital technology, there are no boundaries. And of course, when we have data centers, those who have the data centers, they have the infrastructure, they have the decision, they will be controlling the future. Data centers are the controllers of the future. They are the fuel of the future. Of course, energy and renewable energy, of course, they are very important as well. Okay. Last but not the least, for growth opportunities, go onto this intersection between geopolitics. You cannot hide it. If you're not comfortable with the geopolitical situation of the country or of the product, don't waste your time. Geopolitics is happy, green energy or renewable energy. You have the latest technology. You have the genuine data that you can tap on. There you go, hit there, and this is your best growth opportunity. Okay, backwards, few words very quickly when we're talking about individuals. What is our opportunity as individuals? Well, look at us. Now we are working in remote. We are working remotely. So this is an opportunity. You can have a multitasks working together for working for several companies, several 8 entities, and you are still at home. Of course, we can have a global income. These are opportunities, and AI and digital skills, of course, they are a must. And let me tell you one thing, the World Economic Forum, unfortunately, I don't have enough time to detail all of this, but the World Economic Forum in 2026, this January, they announced that by 2030, and look at this number, 92 million jobs will be going down, but as a substitute, we'll have 172 million jobs will be created by 2030 through this new technology. So, of course, focus on AI and digital skills. That's for individuals. When it comes to corporates, please, whenever you have new technology, whenever you have a disruption, whether it's a radical technology or a disruptive technology, and there are difference between the two. But anyways, when you have disruptive market, go for the supply chain redesign. Right away, don't stay with your old-fashioned supply chain. Go for the supply chain redesign, go for a regional expansion, grab whatever contracts you can have regionally, and work on strategic alliances. From now on, you won't be working on from country to country. You will be working from company to company, and you have that strategic thread of alliance. Opportunities for nations, a very good example, the UAE. Attracting talents. I hope we had the time to discuss how many rules and regulations and decrees came up from the UAE talking about how to attract talented people and make them at ease working in the UAE, of course, because they are preparing for the infrastructure. So attracting talents is an opportunity. Building the new industries now. We have new different industries, and of course, becoming regional hubs. As we can see, the UAE is already has been selected as one of the major regional hubs, especially for technology. Opportunities for humanity. At the end of the day, the whole thing should fall under the ethical, responsible, and useful use of the technology and of the marketing and of the opportunities. So we will have, if we work right, we will have innovation acceleration. And look at the UAE, they have the the government accelerators. They are wonderful. The energy transition, and of course the digital economies. Takeaways very fast. Remember this always: opportunities shift, but they do not disappear. They are there. They move down, now they are behind you. So I have to look backwards and see it. It's not there. It did not dissolve. It went somewhere else. Look for the opportunities. Winners follow the shift and move fast. Others wait and watch winners moving. The future belongs to those who adapt and act, not to those who stay still. I hope that I know I was running like a horse in a race. I hope that I was able to grab your attention for those few minutes that we spent together. Sorry, Dr. Hikmat, if I
No, Dr. Nader,
passed the time. The floor is yours for
absolutely.
comments.
Okay, I want to
Thank you so
tell
much.
the attendees, I want to ask a favor. Let's open our mics, all of us. And if you like the presentation, we have to say 1, 2, 3, and give Dr. Nader an applause, one at the same time, if you like it. So open the mic. 1, 2, 3.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. This is what I was aiming at.